Hey, Matt here. I wanted to talk about the Scrapeboard URL Harvester. So let's have a look at it. In Scrapeboard, you can see the URLs harvested tab here with PageRank. Inside of that, we have a couple of sections. Up here, we deal with keywords. Down here, we deal with actual URLs that are harvested. And over here, we control how that all works. So if I wanted to work with some keyboards, I can go in here and I can just type them out just like that, type out, whatever I wanted. I could paste right into here if I wanted. If I had them saved in the clipboard, I can go ahead and import keywords from an actual keyword file. Bring in keywords here. I can export keywords and then save them off. Pretty easy there. I can remove duplicates, which is very handy. So remove that, and it tells you how many keywords you have up here. And after I remove those duplicates, you'll see extras there. We have the keyword scraper. In here, you get to select your different sources that you want to scrape keywords from. Here's where you would type your starting point root keyword. So let's just type test, and then I'll just do Google suggest and start scraping keywords. You'll see here the counter as it runs telling you how many keywords it has. And then when you have enough keywords, you can stop it, or if it completes on its own, you can complete it, and that's more than plenty keywords for the simple test here. I can then add this to my keyword list and close. If I click this, it will copy all the keywords here into this list here in Scrapeboard. If I choose to replace the keyword list, so if I click add, it will just append these or add these to the bottom of this list here and merge them together. If I click replace, it will delete these and replace them with the keywords that are over here. And then of course I can close. So I'm going to hit, let's just replace these because I don't need those in there. So you can see I got 383 keywords. Let's try remove duplicates. That took it down to 208 so that we don't have to harvest twice for all those extra keywords. So that's handy. Then I could of course export these or whatever. So let's leave our 208 keywords in here. And then we have down here, if we actually want to do some harvesting, we have some built-in footprints for these 6 platforms. And then we have a custom footprint option. If you're going to use a custom footprint option, you can use the custom footprint here. So whatever that would be, if you wanted to pull up, I don't know, sci.edu and then cars. You could do that. You could also do, like, say vBulletin 3.4 and then put this in here, so, and it will stick this on the front end of the built-in footprint, so it'll merge the two of them together. I don't want to do that right here. Let's just do real basic and search for some vBulletin forums based off of our keywords here. Right below here, we're going to choose our engines, Google, Yahoo, AOL. These little drop downs, if you click those, you can do customize options here. So if I only want to search Google for the past 24 hours, results, new results found, past week, month, year, and then I can also add custom Google engines. And this is where I would add or edit if I wanted different languages. Like, see, you can add a language variable after each engine, or you can just add an engine. So if I wanted to pull Google Australia, I would go like this, google.com/.au. And then when I click this, okay, when I drop this box down, I can choose to use Google Australia. So whenever it searches, it's not going to search regular google.com, it's now going to search Google Australia. So we'll go back to regular Google, but that's how you can add different Googles. And then if I wanted to do a language edition, I could do like google.com plus DE, and then it'll only pull in custom results in that language. So whatever your language abbreviation there is with Google. And so we'd have those in there. Same thing with Yahoo, although you don't get to add custom Yahoos, you just get to choose your results, and then you can choose your time frames as well in AOL. Bing, of course, is grayed out by default because you need a custom Bing API ID for that to work. And you can go into settings and you can enter your Bing API keys, and so you just paste them in, one per line, and then it has the link here where you can get those for free, and then that'll make it so you can use Bing. But for now, we're just going to use the engines built in. And then you get to specify the results per engine. So it's set to 1,000, which is the maximum that you can use just due to the engine's limitation. That's not a Scrapeboard limitation. Each engine, such as Google, Yahoo, AOL, Bing, limits the maximum amount of keywords or URLs that you can pull per keyword to 1,000. Now that doesn't matter if you go load up a google.com and you type in a keyword like test or cars or anything, and you go to the very last page, it's not going to show you more than 1,000 results, even if it says it has 558 million results for cars. It'll only show you the first 1,000, even in a web browser. So the engine set that limitation, and Scrapeboard is obviously subject to that limitation because the engine set that. So if you wanted less than 1,000, though, say you only wanted to pull in, I don't know, like 15 results per keyword, whatever, you can change that. We'll leave it at 1,000 here. You can import URLs. If I already had scraped URLs in the past, I could import those, and I can import and replace, which means if I bring in a file here, it will replace what's over here. If I wanted to add to it, I can click add to, and it will merge this with the new list that I have. I can import and replace from clipboard and import and add from clipboard as well. So if I have copied the URLs from a notepad file or text file, rather, whatever, I could paste them in here. I can also export these URLs as a text file and save them right back and just replace it. I can export with PageRank. Now we haven't PageRank checked these particular URLs, but if we had, we could export them to a CSV file with PageRank, or export URLs with the selected PageRank to a text file as well. So you get the Excel style CSV where you could view it in a spreadsheet format, or you could view it in just a regular text file. And then you can transfer them to the forum account. So whenever I have my URLs over here, I can hit export, or transfer rather, and it'll shoot those URLs over here into the forum account section so they're ready to go. Rather than exporting them to a text file and loading them in a text file over here, I can just hit transfer and they just pop right over here and they're ready to go. So remove lets you do some filtering. If we remove duplicate URLs, see there's 968, and obviously several of those were duplicated, so it took out 300 URLs because you wouldn't want to try to create accounts on the same forum over and over again. And so we can remove duplicates, remove duplicate domains, and that trims them down obviously to just one URL per domain. Remove broken URLs. You can also search, so remove URLs containing or not containing. So if I only wanted .com URLs, I could remove URLs not containing .com, and then it'll take out any URLs that's not a .com. So I click that, and then I'm left with 480. So the rest of those were like .net or .org or whatever. So that's how that works. Since we have some keywords up here, let's just go ahead and clear this list and do our keywords here and start harvesting. And you generally don't want to use proxies, but for this simple test I'm not using proxies. And you can see active connections 10 down here, URLs in list, it's harvested 594, now it's up to 1800. So I'm just going to go ahead and abort because we don't need more than the 2400 that it harvested. But you could let that go. And then, so let's go in here and remove duplicate URLs, left with 1205. We'll check for broken links, no broken links. So I have 1205 here. Let's say I wanted to look up the page rank. I can get the page rank of the full URL itself and the page rank of the root domain. So we'll just pull the page rank of the root domain, for instance, and click that. And it'll go through here and pick up the page rank. And again, I'm not using proxies for this, so it will give me a couple errors because I've been doing a lot of page rank checking lately. And you can go through there and see. We'll just abort because we don't need to do any more than that. But it lets us sort them when it's all said and done. So page rank 876, that sort of thing, all the way down, and then status completed and that sort of thing. So once you have that done, then you can go back, of course, and export the results with PageRank there, and then you can also transfer those over into your forum account section, and they'd be ready to go for you to create forum accounts for them. Then we have various settings that you can change up for the actual URL harvester section. If we go into settings up here, we have the connections and timeout, and then we have show harvested URLs during harvesting. That actually does, whenever you're harvesting down here, it just showed you the number of URLs that were being harvested. However, it didn't show them to you. If you turn that on, it'll actually show them to you here. If you happen to have a nice fast running system, that's going to be great. If you're low on system resources, then you probably want to leave that unchecked, because just displaying these here on the screen is just going to consume more system resources, and generally if you have a slower machine, it's just going to slow the whole process down or freeze everything up. So unless you need to see them, you can just leave that unchecked. The connections and timeout setup here. On the left, you'll see a column for connections. On the middle here, you have timeout settings and then other settings. The other settings don't apply to the URLs harvester rather. So under connections, you actually have a URL harvester connection setting, and then you have a timeout, and then you also have PageRank, lookup, connection settings, and timeouts. Now, down here you have 3 different engines, and then if you put in a Bing API ID, you have a 4th, so 4 engines total. URL harvester connections set at 10, that's 10 per engine. If I set this at 10 and I turn on all the engines, and go back out of here and turn on all the engines, the 3 that I have set up anyways, that would be 30 connections total. So 30 connections, if I run this all the way up to 200, that's 200 connections total, and say I was using all 4 of these, that'd be 800 connections total that Scrapeboard is using, which is going to take up quite a lot of bandwidth on your internet connection. So bear in mind that as you adjust this is per an engine that you're using. And then the timeout, and then PageRank lookup only applies to Google, and then the timeout for that as well. So, and then one last thing, if you mess it all up, there's always the reset to default, and it changes everything back to default, which is handy. And that is pretty much the URL harvester, straightforward for the most part. Keyword section up here, the URLs list here that you can manipulate, and then over here that you can set up your footprints, do some filtering, and then look up PageRank and harvest and export and that sort of thing.